What's up, everyone? This is Fifth Gear Garage. On today's video, I just want to go over the car, where we're at with it, what future plans are, um, just kind of going over the whole thing. I want to talk about a couple other things on here, um, and stay tuned because there's a surprise at the end of the video that I went and made earlier. So, just stay tuned and you'll see what that is. Um, so, the whole goal with the car this year, because I haven't really been on here and talked much, I made a video early on talking about it, but I actually want to sit down and talk about the whole thing. So, we set a goal for ourselves to get it running and on the road this year for Father's Day. I think it was the 18th. No, it was like the 15th. Well, anyway, so there's a Father's Day car show we have every year, and me and my dad, my two kids, and my grandpa always attended every year. Um, so that's something, that means a lot to me. I got my kids there, my dad, my grandpa. So we go every year. It's our local car show. It usually turns out to be pretty good, 150 or so cars every year. And so my goal for this year was to get the car going before Father's Day. And I mean, we probably started on at the beginning of the year. Honestly, I don't really remember at the moment, but I'll give a little backstory to the car. So it was a small block car. We ended up, the original engine that we had in it, the cylinders were really rusty from just sitting so long, and we opted to buy another small block. It ended up being a TBI motor, and we were just gonna, use the block, put the original 194 heads we had on it on that engine, just do a freshen up of it. And we ended up tearing it apart, and it's sitting right back here. That's one of the plans for in the future I want to talk about. But basically, everything looked good. It looked like it was recently freshened up before we got into it. And that was kind of the plan. Just put another small block in it. It's already a 4-speed car. So that was our plan. And somebody my dad knew through work somehow ended up having a big block, and he was local to us, and he gave him a really good deal on the big block. Carburetor, oil pan, we got headers with it, I think a starter, water pump, distributor, so we got everything. So he decided at that point, let's put a big block in it. That's the cool thing to do. Everybody always, even myself going to car shows, I'm like, dang, that thing got a big block in it. That's awesome. So, and you want to keep this car old school. We talked about Ellis swapping it in the past, and he just, this is his high school car. It was his first car he ever got. So he just kind of wanted to keep it, old school, and I respect that, and I think it was a great choice. So that's what we ended up doing. We picked the big block up. It's sat in the building for a while. We had to collect parts slowly. New frame stand, new engine mounts, new Z-bar, clutch linkage. Had to get a clutch and a flywheel. Originally, we were told that was a 396. I ran the numbers on it before we actually picked it up. The day we went and looked at it, it was still in the truck. He fired it up, sounded good. And I got the casting numbers off the back of the block, and well, it was a 454, which is fine, more cubic inches, that's fine. Regardless, we got a good deal on it. So, once we started collecting parts, we got a clutch and a flywheel, the frame stands, engine mounts, clutch linkage. We were ready to have at it. So when the car got here, it's probably been here for about a year at my house. Yeah, the front end was already off of it. We had the motor pulled out, transmission was out. So I started getting, collecting some of the other little things, and we just went to town on it and got the motor in it. Um, it was a little learning curve. It's a lot more involved than just slapping it in. Which, you can find that on the internet. But, all in all, it's, not just a straightforward swap. There's, you have to get the right everything to make it work, like anything else. It wasn't hard to do, that's for sure. If anybody's wondering about that, I've read in the forums and stuff, and it's not that bad. You just need to get the right stuff, they need to coordinate with each other, like the frame stands and Ninja mounts, and make sure to get the right ones of those. I guess the big block clutch linkage is different, so, you need that. But I'm sure, this isn't a video talking about how to big block swap a car, so there's, forums and stuff, and if anybody's actually interested, I can go through and get like part numbers we used and stuff. I know it's a common swap, so. But anyway, we got the car running. I was, even the night before Father's Day, I was out here wrenching until late. Got up that morning, was working on it. Honestly, we were like, well, we're not really sure if we're gonna make it, and I was pretty determined at that point. It's the day of. It's still pretty early. I think we could make it. So it didn't have an exhaust on it. It wasn't done. It wasn't even as far as this is. So we we made it. We got the car there. It's just, like I said, a couple miles down the road from my house, and we ended up getting the car done and getting it there. And the look on my dad's face pulling into the car show, because I drove his truck just in case something happened to the car, we could pull it home. But it made it there, and I parked outside the car show. Me and my kids ran up to the car and got in it at the gate, and just seeing the look of my dad's face, driving his old hot rod to the car show for the first time, driving it, and it's like 97, 98 was really the last time. I'm not exactly sure what year it was, but it was late 90s, so this has been, let's say, 25 years of him not being able to drive it, and then we hop in it and take it to a car show. So it's really a cool experience to share with somebody you care a lot about. My kids, my dad. So we got it running, driving. That was all good. So at that point, we were still missing some stuff. It was just, like I said, the motor was in it, it ran, that's what we got accomplished by then. So, after that, we figured out a couple more things we needed. So, just this last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months, we've just been kind of perfecting everything, just getting it a little put together better than what it was. So, we put valve cover gaskets on it, messed with the timing and stuff, got some exhaust on it. It's just, just little things here and there. And throughout this time lately, I changed the differential fluid. My dad cleaned up the traction bars and I got them put on. We put a bigger radiator fan on that we got, because the one that we had on was a 10-inch electric fan with, you see in the last video, just like a factory late 60s Nova radiator for a small block. Needless to say, it didn't cool very well. I just got this fan on. Tonight was really the first night it's been driven since the new fan. It's cool out tonight. It's probably low to mid 60s right now, so it's not bad out. Obviously, it's probably not going to get too hot if it's got some kind of airflow, but it definitely pushes more air. It's like a 15 or 16-inch electric fan that I got from one of my friends. It's working at the moment. We're getting to, this time of year where it's not really going to be that hot that much. So, at least not in the 80s and 90s. So, I think for now it's probably good. Um, some actual plans we have for the winter. I plan on doing something with my garage. It's three-sided. Where the door's supposed to be, there's nothing there. So I'm thinking this year probably just get a big tarp. I have a pellet stove that I need to bring over and put in here. But I think a good thick tarp would probably be fine for this year. Just I'm not gonna be out here every single day, but so for sure, we're gonna get a upgrade to an aluminum radiator, probably dual electric fans. There's not a lot of room because it's a long water pump, and most of the stuff I found, like the accessory brackets and stuff I bought, were for a long water pump. They're ICT billet accessory brackets. I don't think they make a lot of short water pump stuff, but that's just what we had, and that's what's readily available. So, needless to say, there's not a whole lot of room up front, because originally we were going to use a clutch fan, and that would have probably worked great. But it's just, there's not enough room in the engine bay for that. So, that's something else you have to kind of think about when you put a big block in something like a Nova. I'm not really sure what else, maybe a Camaro. Chevelle probably has a little more room, but for cooling options, there's not a lot. You could probably just go with a straight mechanical fan. I think that's what these cars with big blocks have from the factory, is just a mechanical fan. But definitely aluminum radiator, dual electric fan setup, maybe a mechanical fan. We're going to see how that goes. I'd love to find some wheels for it. I'm not sure, we kind of want to keep this like a period correct, 70s muscle car. So I'd like to find some kind of good looking wheel that's not too modern looking. Not sure about that. Maybe look on Facebook, see what I can find, but I would love to find a set of 15-inch wheels. Of course, it's got 14s on it now. It's got new tires. I'll put new tires on it, but I like to get like a 15x8 in the back with a 275/60 or a 255/60. I don't know about that yet. Probably a new ignition system. It's got an HEI in it right now. May upgrade to like an MSD with an external coil that's mounted somewhere else, so it's more of like the points size, but it's still an HEI. Do something with the gauges. I'd like to get to that this winter. Because the speedometer, it's hooked up, but it's not really working right. It kind of moves like this most of the time. But I put a Jegs tack in it. I don't really like the tack. I think I just keep getting dirty signals with the wire, and it kind of jumps around a little bit. And if you go to fire it up, because when you turn the power onto the tack, it does its sweep, and it seems like sometimes when it doesn't fire up immediately, it'll freak out, and then sometimes it'll read way high and way low. I'd like to just go with like an old school tack, something like a Sunpro or the blue line tack or something. I like to just keep that stuff period correct too. Just something from like the 70s or even the 80s, just something old school really. Probably, so it's really hard to say, what future plans are, but I do know that those are some of the things we're going to touch on this winter. it'd be nice to go over the suspension this winter and redo it, because it drives kind of like a boat getting it out there, and it's kind of just a little wonky. I know the rear shocks are shot. I'd love to do new leaf springs in the rear, new bushings, new shocks in the front, new shocks in the rear as well. Like I said, wheels and tires. As far as interior goes, I mean, it's probably good. Like I said, I just like to get the speedometer working, maybe some kind of fuel gauge set up. It's got a fuel cell on it now that has a sending unit built into it, but we haven't even tried to hook it up to the factory fuel gauge, see how that acts. I know they make some kind of module where you can do that and it'll work with the factory gauge. It's like $100. And to me, that's just not really worth it when I can just pop the trunk and check the fuel level on the cell. So, yeah, that's really about it. I mean, this car, it's got a lot of value to it, to my family. It's really important to us. And I'm just happy after all these years, it's on the road. You know, that's all that I care about at the end of the day. It's not the prettiest, that's for sure. But it puts a smile on my face, puts a smile on my kids' faces, and my dad's face, you know. That's what's important to us. And, you know, one of these days, it'll get, you know, a complete restoration. But today is not the day. It's not going to be next year. One of these days it's going to happen, but, you know, after it's sitting so long and seeing it all the time as a kid, I'm just happy it's on the road. And at the end of the day, it's still a big block 4-speed car, and it's still, you know, it may be a stock big block, we don't even know. But it, you know, it runs good. I'm happy with it. Sounds good, runs good, you know. Don't get it right, just get it running, and that's what we did. And we're, you know, tweaking it here and there, try to make it better. There's still a couple car shows coming up. One of my friends is throwing. That's probably about 30 miles away, and I'd love to take it there. It's at the end of the month, and you know, I just want to kind of get it set up to where I think I can make it down there with no issues, and go from there. That's really all I have to say about the car. The other future plans is I got 2 small blocks over here. They're just rotating assemblies and blocks right now. The original one, probably not going to do anything with it right now. One of these days I would love to build it, but the TBI block, I want to maybe start on it this winter, get it tore apart. My goal with it is like a 383 stroker with aluminum heads, like a Victor Jr. intake or something, and I want to do like a nitrous setup with forged pistons, you know. But that is a future build. I don't even have a car to put it in right now. That's also something that maybe I'll look into this winter. It just depends on how things go, you know, how the year goes. It's so unpredictable all the time. But eventually I'm gonna buy a car. I don't know what kind of car. I would love to find it like an early G-body, like a 78 Monte Carlo. I don't even know if that is considered a G-body, but that's what I'd like to find, 78, 79 Monte Carlo. My dad had one when I was a kid. After he wrecked this, he got a 78 Monte Carlo for a daily, and that was like the coolest car to me. It looked good. Um, it was silver, but it was faded, so it just looked like primer, but it had all red interior. And I don't know, just, cruising around in that Monte Carlo. It was just a 305 car, but it was just cool to me. So that's what I would love to find. It's like a 78 Monte Carlo to put that motor in. Just something that's, pretty quick, something that we can go out and drag race with. Because as much as I would love to, this car is not the car to do that with. When I was younger, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna build it and make it a drag car. That's just, I see the vision my dad has, and I understand, and with as much value as this car holds to my family, just not gonna be a drag car. You know what I mean? Maybe take it out every once in a while to the strip. We don't live close to the strip anyway. The closest one's like 2 hours away. But I want to build a car that me and my dad can drag race with and have a good time in. And this be like the cruiser, still have some fun with it. Still get some power down to the ground with it and enjoy it. But I want more of, put a cage in something with a nitrous small block automatic and kind of use that. Maybe we can finally go to some events and maybe be competitive with something like that. So that is kind of the winter plans. Get this, fine tune it a little more. Upgrade cooling system, ignition system. It really needs brakes. I didn't mention it. The rear brakes aren't even working right now. I want to go through and rebuild the whole brake system, so that's good. That's not a really an expensive thing to accomplish, so that's on the list. And I just want to come on here and kind of hang out for the evening. It's Sunday. Took the car for a drive. That clip will be at the end of this video. Sorry it's so long. It's just, I'm really trying to put some stuff out there, and just, I'm an everyday guy on a budget. Me and my dad's trying to throw something cool together, and I want you guys to be part of it. So, but enough rambling. I hope you guys have a good night, have a good week. Stay positive. It's hard. I know that it's really hard to stay positive sometimes, but just keep working towards it. But yeah, enjoy this clip of me just cruising in the Nova. Sunday evening, just out getting on a little bit and then enjoying myself, and winding down for the evening. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe. If you guys want to see anything with the car, please tell me. Comment. If it's, I don't care what it is. I'll show everybody 100 times. If that's what they want to see, that's what they want to see. But yeah, just comment, like, subscribe, please. I want to get this out there. I want to make some good videos for you guys. So I plan on making some more videos soon. There's some more things I got going on that I want you guys to see, and yeah, just stick along for the ride.